Hello. So, hello very much. Welcome everyone to this talk about platform teams and operational workload. I'm sorry about the hiccup. And what we are going to see in this talk is first, we are going to discuss why operational workload is something that is very specific to platform teams. And it's also that it has a heavy weight on platform teams. It's also like very disruptive. We will also introduce then the lean methodology. It's a very easy methodology for continuous improvement. It was born in the manufacturing space, but then it has been translated to many other disciplines. Finally, we will see how we can apply this methodology for platform teams, taking into account what are the specific characteristics of platform teams. So, sorry, and I missed the introduction. This has been like a little disaster. So I'm Marisa Martín Serrano. I'm a technical product manager in ThoughtWorks Spain. Maybe you are not so familiar with ThoughtWorks as such, but you are likely very familiar with our fellow thought workers such as Martin Fowler, Neal Ford, Keith Morris, and also with concepts like evolutionary architecture, microservice, infrastructure as code, or so you might have read our blog post or any of the books that we have published. I'm originally from Sevilla, Spain, although I have been living abroad for a while and now based in Madrid. I love dogs, dance, fitness. I have a mix of technical and management background, so I had roles in the past like software architect or DevOps, but I now focus more on the management side as a technical product manager. What I think is most relevant to this talk is that I always work in infrastructure or platform. I have this mix of technical and management, and I'm a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certified, so I have worked a lot on process improvement and continuous improvement. I'm going to get my fitness by going back and forth. So typically in ThoughtWorks, when we start with a given team, especially platform product teams, we start by running an inception. So we set up or we decide on the vision. We decide what is going to be the mission of the platform team. What initiatives we are going to be working to deliver that vision and mission. And then after a while, we realize, just like in any other platform team, that we didn't do that because we were doing other things. What were these other things? So we were doing a lot of end-user support. We were doing a lot of troubleshooting operation, restarting nodes, applying patches, and who knows what else. We were also the ones in charge of managing the relationship with our cloud partners, vendors, and so. So because of that, we could not deliver that vision that we promised. And this is based on a true story. So I got started with a new platform team. I was new to the team. They did already this inception process to decide what was the roadmap, which initiatives they will be working on for that year. And then I joined just in time for the quarterly review. So I was discussing with the tech lead, that is someone that I really admire. He's great technically, great leadership skill, great collaboration, really good in development practices. So I really look up to him. And we're discussing how to present what we had achieved or what they had achieved in that quarter. So we started by filling this matrix of the important and the urgent. And he was, putting the stickers, and it was like nearly empty. So, I was really wondering, what else, what this platform team was doing that was not, in this dashboard. So then they started to add the stickers about, things that they did not planning the roadmap, things like operations, things like business support. So they got a request to implement a given dashboard or to implement, to integrate a few cloud components and deliver a business solution. And this was nowhere in the roadmap, nowhere in the tool they use for their backlog. So we did a second iteration of this. And for this second iteration, we already, distribute. So we already accounted for all the work that they had done, and we already, distributed the stickers. So red flags here. Ideally, you should be working on what is important. So what appears here in green as a schedule, or what appears here in, as do now. So this will be the ideal distribution. You are working on things that you have planned because you believe that they deliver value to your organization, to your users. Instead of that, most of the work was on the delegate, so things that are not really important or urgent, or things that are not really important, but they were very urgent. So this is not ideal. Typically, if you move on the urgent side, you are not developing or building a platform. You are more likely just, providing live support, firefighting, doing a lot of operational work. A third iteration of this exercise was to see how we distributed, how the work in this quarter was distributed by category. So ideally, you should be mostly focusing on your roadmap, so on building your platform product. What we saw here is that most of the achievement and most of the capacity was gone to operational activities, and also that there were other activities such as enablement, vendor management, business support also, that they were also eating the capacity of the team. Okay? This exercise, you can do it on Monday. They are very simple. They don't require a lot of data gathering, and I think they are very powerful to understand on what you are spending your time as a platform team. So what is the nature of the platform work? So you have things that can typically and ideally should be automating, like provisioning, deployment, maintenance, upgrade, patches. Then you have other things that are more related to how mature your user base is and how autonomous they are, and also to the typical ones of troubleshooting a production incident or restarting nodes because they are overflowed or things like this. So this is how you can distribute the operational workload. So what did we learn from this exercise, reviewing, doing this quarterly review? So the first red flag will be that there was no visibility on the total workload. So we were only considering the work on the roadmap, but we were not considering all the effort that was put into providing support, into maintaining the platform, troubleshooting, restarting, and such. We also saw that because the things were mostly on the urgent side, the approach was very reactive. So it was not a proactive approach of, I'm going to build a resilient product. I'm going to improve my platform. I'm going to develop new capabilities. It was all on the urgent side. No capacity was left for the important because all was taken away by the urgent. And that we saw that in the distribution, the largest capacity was spent or was consumed by operation work. So like, upgrading, maintaining, patching, restarting, troubleshooting, or providing end-user support. So what is the impact and consequences? So we can see, what is the impact in our organization. So if we define a platform product with a given vision, with a set of capabilities, we define initiatives to achieve that, and we don't build that, it means that likely all the security, cost optimization, compliance requirements for our platform will not be delivered, will not be implemented. Regarding the users, so if we are not developing our platform product, we are very likely not making it much more user-friendly, empowering the teams to be much more autonomous, implementing self-service and so on. And there is also the effect that when we promise something and we don't deliver it, our users are going to lose, hope, faith in our, capacity to deliver. Regarding technology, if we are so busy with, this mindless operational work, very likely we are going to miss opportunity, and we might also have a risk of, obsolescence, deprecation, and such. And regarding the platform team, so we lose, our credibility in front of our organization, stakeholder, management, because we don't deliver what we promise. The team morale goes down, the motivation, and also two key points is the cognitive load is bigger than it should be, and also we suffer a lot from this continuous context switching. And on this, we used to have this one full song rule, and it was, it was at the end of the day, we'll count how many songs we could listen to without being interrupted by, no, this fool. There is an incident, there is a user walking by, there is someone pinging us on Teams, Slack or so. And this was like a luxury because it's a 7-minute song, so this was only like a summertime, Friday afternoon or so. But it's really that if you cannot focus for more than 2-3 minutes, that a song can last, how good is going to be what you are going to deliver, so what is the quality of that, and how much can you deliver if you are continuously switching from one task to another, from a request to another, from an incident to another. So this is why we should really invest on reducing everything that has to do with operations. So what is the Lean methodology? So the Lean methodology, or Toyota Manufacturing System, is a methodology that initiated in the manufacturing side. You can see some application like Lean software development from Tom and Mari Popendik. That is a great book to read if you are starting on software development. There are many principles, but the key ones will be this one: identify value from the customer point of view. So here will be we consider waste, not only, bugs, defects, non-compliant things, but anything that, our users don't see any value. So sometimes it happens in platform that we create a very sophisticated platform product that is a layer of abstraction on the top of another layer, on the top of another layer. Maybe, our users, because of their maturity, because their workload or whatever, they don't see value in that. So this can be seen as a waste. So understanding, what is value from our users or customer point of view and delivering that value. Otherwise, we are increasing the waste. There is this concept about mapping and visualizing the value streams. So how we deliver value to our users, in this case, the platform users, and how these users deliver value to their users that can be end users or other part of the organization. There is this principle about creating a steady flow of value and also to limit the work in progress. Many of, I think of you in the audience, you might be familiar with Kanban, which is very widely used in, operations platform team versus alternatives like Scrum that is very much used more in development or product teams. There is a concept about establishing the pool, and this has two sides. So one side will be that I don't push you a feature, so I don't push features to my platform user. It will be more that they request it, and because I'm extremely agile in my delivery, I can deliver them as they are requested. I can deliver them just in time. Finally, there is this continuous improvement mindset that is about seeking perfection, so seeking efficiency, seeking a steady flow, and iterate over and over to continuously improve your process, your work stream, your value stream map. There is also the concept in waste. So there are three main categories. One of them is the unevenness. So when a process is not steady, and this is something that we can even visualize in our CI/CD pipeline. So sometimes we see that the process is not flowing, so we see that, a given pipeline is stuck in a given step, or a step is taking longer for, a team than another team, or for a technology stack than another technology stack, and things like this. There is the concept about overburden. So we always try to think that an ideal and efficient system is the one that is 100% full. So we are using the entire capacity, but this is not true. So this is not good for our tools. So we should not have our CI/CD nodes, up to 100%, our Kubernetes node up to 100%, and the same apply to our teams. So we should not be having, we cannot commit to be 100% occupied. We have to leave some slack, some room to do other stuff, or to, whatever that was not foreseen, was not planned, we can absorb that. Then there are the different, like what we consider waste. There is the necessary waste, so things that, do not bring direct value, but you might still, you might have to do because of legal compliance, because the domain or sector you work in. And then there are, the 8 type of waste. A very easy one to visualize is inventory. So what is inventory? Images that should be deprecated but are still in our registry. Environments that should be deprecated, but they're still, somewhere in our, running in our cloud. Code that is never used and should be not upgraded and maintained, but should be just, delete that repository. So this is a very easy one. There is also, the defects. There is, the wasting the people potential, and there are many others of them. So with this, we are just going to do like 2 key techniques. So this one is about visualizing this value stream map, and there is the next one about this define, measure, analyze this continuous improvement cycle. So for the value stream map, what we have to identify is what are the key streams. So we are, we work in a platform team, so CI/CD or CI/CD pipelines. For us, platform teams, and for them, our users, are going to be one of them. We can also map other work streams or other streams, such as how we provide support to our users, whether it's an efficient or inefficient process, and how we manage incidents. Then once we have defined the key work streams that we want to work and make more efficient, we are going to map which steps bring values and which one do not. And for each of these steps and for the overall stream, we are going to identify the waste as per the definition. So this is an example. This could be a pipeline, and this is something that you can easily automate, like in Grafana. So you can create a dashboard where you can visualize, the prototype or the prototype pipeline, and then identify, which steps are the ones that fail the most, which are the steps that take the most, and if there is any waste or any redundancy that you can remove, like too many steps, too many environment, things we can consolidate. So for this, we consider always the metrics. So for each step and for the overall stream, we are going to consider which metrics typically are going to be about, the success rate or failure rate. So how many times, in average, does this step fails? They're also going to be about how long does this step takes. We are also going to map, who are the users, consumer of that process, where are the systems where this happens. So this can be, Jenkins, or here, we have Maven or whatever. And then we are going to identify the waste and where our users have pain points, have questions, and things like this. We are also going to measure the efficiency, so failure rate, time it takes for the overall process. And if you look at it, it's very similar to the famous, DORA or 4 key metrics. So here we are considering from the beginning to the end of our pipeline, and the metrics that we are going to be calculating for the overall process, you can consider them as the 4 key or the DORA metrics. And this dashboard is very easy to build, and is quite powerful and very useful to your platform users. This is the continuous improvement cycle. So we have like this different step, and at the core, we are always going to have, our customer and what brings value to them. So the first step will be, define, then measure, analyze, improve, and control. With a little bit more of detail. In the define, we are going to analyze, what is the problem that we are trying to solve. So in this case, it can be that, operation takes up to 70% of our capacity, and we could only work 30% of our capacity in the roadmap. What are the constraints that we work with? Our team was downsized. We have a restriction where we cannot invest in any tools or anything. So this is, from the solution space, we are going to choose only those that are, within our constraints. In the measures, so one of the challenges is to have this one single tool where we are going to have everything. And this is like, I find this shocking. So sometimes we have a tool for our roadmap, be it Jira or whatever, and then we have a different tool for our operational or service support. And by tool, it can also be, Slack, or it can be, Teams, or, just user typing their questions in a chat. If you don't visualize how much capacity, so how many questions you get a day from your from your users, if you don't visualize how much time it takes to resolve that, you can hardly improve and reduce the overall operational workload. So for this, if you cannot have one single tool, at least keep track of that somewhere. Like it can be a spreadsheet, it can be like every day you say like, okay, today we solve 3 incidents, 4 user questions, or things like this. You should track all channels. So sometimes we track like, whatever we get from Teams, but maybe we don't track, that user, that developer that walks by and, ask a question, and then, we spend 1 hour sitting with them or so. So here, so you have to track everything, and you have to track all the channels. So it might come from, someone coming to your desk. It might come from, a message in a chat. It might come from, Grafana that you get an alert that the nodes are over capacity, things like this. Gather all channels and tag all those channels. Ideally, but this, takes time and investment, you should automate the integration so that, you can gather this information easily from many sources. That can be the tool that you use for your backlog, the tool that you use for alerting, or many other tools in one single place. If you cannot invest in integration, then you might need to, gather data from different sources. Then label everything. So to understand how much time you invest on each of the categories, you should label everything that you get. So if it is user support, tag like, we got this from user support. If it is like an incident, we got this, from the incident management tool that we have. Tag also the channels. Tag, what are the user segment that you are getting this. Maybe there is a new team, or maybe there is a team that is producing a very complex piece of software that requires higher and much more support from you than any other team. So do tag everything, and then we are going to see why. The final part will be about consolidating. So try to find a grouping that can be useful for you to identify what is the root cause, to identify how much capacity this is consuming from you, and then calculate the given percentage. Also visualize the different trends and try to correlate them with events in your organization, with events like in your, in the application that your user produce. So maybe, because it was Black Friday, there was a peak and all your nodes were down, and then you had a lot of support. Or maybe because due to merger acquisition, there is like a new part of the organization that you need to onboard. They have a lot of questions because they are not used to your system. So try to correlate what is happening, so the incident request that you are getting, with these events, because this is going to give you a lot of useful information. In the analyze phase, there are many, many lean techniques. I really like these three ones. There is the FMEA, failure modes and effect analysis. So here, the different columns are categories. So you can have components, you can have teams, you can have a given product, you can have a given step in your pipeline. So these will be the columns. And then in the rows, you are going to account for, this incident happened. It took this much time to resolve. It had this impact and, whichever information that is useful. There is the fishbone. So in the fishbone, you have color-coded the different categories that can be process, tool, and then by category, you start putting POSIT for potential root causes. And then you vote, which one you think is the one contributing the most, so the one that you should address first. The 5 whys is like if you were an annoying little kid and you were asking like, why is the sky blue? Why is the... So this is like a very good technique for this. So you will be asking like, why did we see an increase on service support last Thursday? Because, I don't know, the Jenkins load went down. Why the Jenkins why the Jenkins node went down? Because, I don't know, there were like 100 concurrent pipelines running on them. And then like this up till 4. And when you are like you can continue more than 5, but typically when you are already on the 5, you have discovered the root cause. My favorite technique is the FMEA, because you can do much more combinations. So in the FMEA, maybe, one time you see that by component, there is a given component that is the one causing most of your operational workload or most of your support. So let's say the Jenkins nodes. Maybe you fix that, and then you want to discover that, applying Pareto, so the 20 that causes the 80 or that accounts for the 80, you might discover that the next thing will be, by teams. So you see that you solve the issue with the nodes by component, but now you want to work on whatever it has to do by team. So you can filter, you can combine, you can group, and it's much more powerful than the fishbone or the why that are more like directional, so more like straightforward. So let's say that, we have do our homework of, defining, measuring, and so on. And now we want to analyze, and now we want to improve. So here what we are going to do is Pareto. So we are going to focus on those 20% causes that can account for the 80% of the effects. So we are going to be very smart about focusing on the key ones. We are going to brainstorm together as a team what are the potential actions. And we are going to, set the expectation. So if we correct, let's say, the issue with the Jenkins node, we are going to improve, we are going to reduce the service support by 20%. So we have the root cause, we have the action, and we have the percentage of improvement, so the target improvement. We decide on the most impactful action, again applying Pareto, and then we also decide, we implement them, and we also decide on how we are going to measure, to make sure that we are not making any error on the measurement. The last one will be about controlling. So we have decided on the action, we have implemented them, and now we have to check whether the action that we wanted to, the action that we targeted are delivering the expected result. So if we say that by addressing the Jenkins node issue, we are going to reduce 30% of service support, in this phase, we will be measuring this. So we are going to measure how much we actually improve. We are going to compare it with the target that we set, this 30% of reduction in service support, and then we are going to decide whether we want to continue, whether we have achieved the target, whether we want to continue, we want to pivot, or we want to fine-tune, or we want to switch to something absolutely different. So, so here is an example. In the define, we saw an increase of the service support, and we thought that it was the root cause would be that there were a lot of new joiners. We decided to do like some sort of onboarding training, and we hope that the support will reduce a lot. When we measured, we saw that we did not meet the target. And then we reevaluate, and we saw that the problem was not with the newcomer. The problem was that onboarding and everything was very easy, but still the development teams were lacking of the foundation. So like they just didn't know how to adapt their application to run on Kubernetes. They didn't understand the CI/CD. So we decided to pivot from delivering this onboarding training for our platform to providing more baseline, like foundational training on Kubernetes, CI/CD tools and things like this. So the summary, and I'm going to have like a lot of time for questions. So why should we, so we saw the problem that is that a platform team have like a lot of operational workload is quite unique, or like is much more heavy in platform team than in product or traditional software development teams. We saw some techniques to improve that, like lean methodologies and associated techniques. And then, but we might still be wondering why we should invest time on this. So in times that the teams were downsized because of the crisis and all this, in times that we cannot really invest in cool tools that maybe will make our life easier, these techniques can help us to identify this hidden capacity, because there is a lot of capacity that we just don't know it exists because we don't account for. So we don't really know how much time we spend on incidents, or we don't know how much time we spend in service support. We can also, it's going to help us to move from the firefighting mode and to focus on the important versus on the urgent. At the team level, it really can bring a team together, because you can imagine all the stress and frustration that can bring to only work on operational tasks. So just, as if you were a ticketing system, like, just getting a request, answering, or like, just restarting service or so. So by starting introducing this lean methodology, like doing monthly reviews, like doing monthly process improvement, defining target, measuring against target, identifying root causes, suggesting improvement, you can really bring the platform teams together, and you are allowing them to have that sense of control, ownership, and build that collaboration, so to really work as a team. And you can also contribute to the right culture. So sometimes we see as the hero of the team that person that there was an incident in production and then spent the weekend trying to solve it or so. So instead of that culture that is not very healthy and not my favorite culture, the same, we can switch to a culture that works together to improve their daily life, to improve the experience of their users, that makes a system much more resilient and fault tolerant. And because of that, they deliver much more value than the value that they will be delivering just by, answering calls or resolving tickets or restarting nodes. So I really do think, and that we should be investing on this. So this is it from me. I really wanted to thank the organization. I also really wanted to thank my two colleagues, Alejandro and Najim. And if you have any question, just let me know. I think we have plenty of time.
Thank you. Yeah, there are some questions. Let's see. First of all, let's talk about the self-service for developers, okay? They're asking if you're using your own platform or you're using something like, there's a project called Backstage that was from Spotify, then CNCF, all that sort of stuff. If you can disclose this a bit, like...
Yeah, I mean, we are using Backstage in many, so I work in a consultancy. So like I see many teams and I see many clients. So many of them are using Backstage, and the good thing about Backstage, I think it's like it has like a very lean approach because it solves like to have that foundational platform where you can just plug capabilities and you can expose them and serve them to end user. So I do think to have that central platform where you can just contribute and you don't have to worry about the platform itself is like a great tool.
So then they were asking if you do, okay, which you do you have to implement plugins to improve? Have you experimented on that? Or
I mean, as a technical product manager, I have not, I must say.
Team maybe,
yeah. Yes. So, I mean, you can use, it's good. I mean, I think Backstage is really powerful for two things. So you can build platform capabilities, which is, great, but you can also build, let's say, like architecture capabilities or services that can be reviewed by other parts of the organization. So it's not only platform developers, those developing the platform that can contribute to Backstage, but you can also consider users, so developers that can contribute to, sharing libraries, sharing services, APIs or so, for the rest of them, for the rest of the organization to be consumed. So I think, and all is integrated with identity and access management and all this.
Okay, so now talking a bit about, common problems between teams, which you probably suffer every single minute of your life. Think about the ad hoc tasks that sometimes they lie between in team boundaries, right? And sorry, the mic. How can you say about trying to improve this when something is in boundaries? Like, how do you suggest improving these relationships between teams, which are always tricky?
Yeah. So besides the operational workload, a common pattern in a platform team is when they have to provide business support, so develop something for the business, or when they have to enable team. So in this situation, you are going to, be in close collaboration and maybe, in close friction with other team. So for this, what we like to do is set roles and responsibilities, agree on ways of working, and then agree on, who is going to own whatever that we produce, so that we can mature from close collaboration to something that can be consumed by a service that has an owner that is going to evolve it, maintain it, and so on.
So you have talked a lot about lean methodologies, but there's also safe organizations.
Yes.
Yeah. How does this work? Because often one is against the other. So how do you balance that?
I think you can totally apply the two of them. So for Lean, I think it works very well when you have a lot of operational workload, and you can use it just in that space. So you can keep your safe or agile methodology for whatever has to do with software development, and then to reduce the operational work that even product teams might have. Maybe they launch a product, maybe the first release is a little bit flaky, so they get a lot of end-user support or so. So you can keep this operational space very much associated to Lean, and then you can keep the development space very much into Agile, Scrum, Safe or so.
Okay, so you mentioned you run the DMAIC process every sprint. How long does it take? They're asking because maybe it takes a long time.
I wouldn't say every sprint, I would say every month, because for some improvement, it typically takes more than the 2-3 weeks of a sprint. So to do it every month is good. So you should have the first kickoff where you are going to see this is what we have to improve because it is what is going to consume most of the time. So you do this first round, and then every month you should review that the actions that you agree that will bring the biggest improvement are meeting the targets that you define for each of these actions. So once a month is good, and you can do it on Friday as nearly a team-building activity. Alejandro might disagree, but...
Okay, and to finalize, let's go back to the beginning of your presentation, right? You mentioned that the team was always focusing on urgent things. And you have also been speaking about delivering value, right? I mean, even if, like it was not super productive because it's always firefighting, you could argue that this is the most important thing, so it was adding the most value, right? So it's complex to like...
I mean, it's complex, but then you can always have metrics, because, yeah, I mean, I think that if you don't see the big picture, so if you don't move in the schedule, and this is very linked, so you might take individual actions that are urgent and might have an opposite effect, so they might be counterproductive. I do think that sometimes you do have to address the urgent, but then always think like, okay, so what is the impact if I don't do this?
Yeah, if everything is urgent, nothing is urgent, right?
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, Marisa. Thank you very much for coming, and really good talk.